What is the outlook for these metals for the rest of the year, though?
I would say that the outlook remains fairly depressed. I think particularly for lithium and nickel kind of have lengthening supply balances. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing because it means that batteries will be less expensive for automakers. So it helps alleviate some of the pain that some of the U.S. and European automakers have been experiencing.
Yeah. Okay. Sherry, come in on this.
Thanks, Martin. And Tim, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us. Do you think that perhaps the South Korean battery players have sort of lost their mojos because of this certain type of battery that is more affordable here, LFP, of course, which Chinese players certainly led the game. Do you think South Korean companies will somehow get it back at one point?
Yeah, we definitely see the South Korean battery makers going into the LFP, but we had very important guidance from the U.S. Department of Treasury in early December, which continues to limit Chinese players' access to the U.S. market. So the Koreans still have the U.S. market largely to themselves, and that's likely to be the fastest growing global EV market to the end of the decade. So, still the outlook for the Korean players remains positive.
It certainly looks like the EV race is two-way race, right? Tesla and BYD in the big picture. How does that benefit any of the South Korean players or not benefit? And does that somehow edge them out versus the Chinese competitions?
Well, you're correct that we've definitely seen a bit of a pullback from European and U.S. OEMs on their electrification plans in 3Q last year. But some of the Korean battery makers, for example, LG Energy Solution, have upgraded their capacity expansion plans for Tesla, and they also signed new supply agreements with Toyota. So I actually think that we may see a continuation of the trend of the U.S. big three automakers losing share. But Tesla and the Asian OEMs, including Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, gaining share in the U.S. market, and some Korean battery makers have a lot of leverage to those Asian OEMs plus Tesla.
A lot of experts say, well, actually, EV and battery boosters say that we're still in the very early innings of this EV penetration and EV ramp up and transition. In 2024, are we going to see some kind of turnaround as we see, for example, in semiconductor cycle?
We're not, at least in the ex-China market, we're not expecting a big turnaround. It seems like the U.S. automakers have put things on pause to wait to see the outcome of the U.S. presidential election. Obviously, if we have a change in administration, there may be some de-emphasis on electrification in the U.S. And in the European market, we had, Germany in a surprise move remove subsidies at the end of last year. So I would say that in 2024, expectations around U.S. and European growth are fairly muted, maybe 10 to 15% year-over-year growth.